So about a year ago, I made a video titled "The TzAudios YouTube Sponsor Scam Runs Deep." And if you actually go watch this video, which I highly recommend you do before proceeding with the rest of this one, because it does establish a lot of necessary context, I will just set the scene. I will just set the mood for the rest of this video by reading just one sentence from the email I got from them. Might our aid in locating a pro microphone which is handmade in California, USA, enhance your overall workflow? Yes, that's the type of bullshit we're dealing with today. So, the reason why I'm talking about them again today is because there have apparently been a lot of developments in this whole situation with them, at least according to someone who reached out to me a while back. And so apparently there's just been a lot going on. They've been having absolute meltdowns as a company and everything. Just very public, just very publicly just whining and crying. So I thought I'd look into it, and I thought it'd make a pretty interesting update video. So the way this whole TzAudios thing works is that there's a company called TechZone Audio Products, and I will go ahead and show them here. So there's a website called TechZone Audio Products. This company makes microphones. They have 3 microphones available if we go ahead and go to their products. And essentially, this company seems legitimate as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen anything that particularly stands out to me as them being a scam. But if you go to dealers, then there's TzAudios as one of their authorized dealers. So I'm sure you can immediately start to put the pieces together on what's going on here, where there is a legitimate company selling microphones, then they have a distributor, an authorized dealer, if you will, called TzAudios, which has very deceptive practices in trying to get their microphones sold. And so something that I didn't even cover well enough in my last video, and something that I've now discovered in this video, is their biggest incentive for doing what they do. So some big questions about this company that just add to the shadiness is, why do they reach out to creators that are so small, offering such large deals? So something that you'll notice throughout this video is that most of the creators they reach out to are within maybe 200 to 500 subscribers, like I was, and they're reaching out to them offering $500 to $2,000 plus for their videos. You know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, like, what's their incentive there to do that, right? Because it's very obviously not going to reach a very large audience. They would be wanting to reach out to bigger creators for that. So then what's their move? What's their MO here? How is it exactly a scam? And the reason why it's a scam, I didn't fully cover that, I don't believe, in my last video. Like, all I showcased was their shadiness and their deceptive practices as a company trying to just push on the creators, but I didn't explain exactly how they're a scam, and I believe I figured that out now. So let's look at this photo here. You believe this photo is fake. If you don't believe that this photo is legitimate, then it is from TzAudios directly. It is provided directly from them. So if they're even going to try to say that, oh, this is actually fake, this creator provided a fake image or whatever, it's from you guys. So just keep that in mind. This is actually directly from the horse's mouth here. So this is an email that was sent to a content creator called Tom Must Be 12. And the rest of this doesn't really matter too much. This part is what I want to specifically focus on. Furthermore, we offer 500, 1,000, 2,000 USD when your video hits 100 comments as part of our community reward program. So an important thing to consider here is that those numbers that they're touting about that you can earn, for this content creator sponsorship stuff, is only when you exceed 100 comments. 100 comments isn't very realistic for a channel within maybe 200, 500 subscribers. And so you may be wondering, well then, okay, that's kind of a way to so that they don't have to end up actually paying you, but don't they still provide you with a free microphone? No. So the way that their sponsorship actually works, and if you go watch my last video, they even talk about that. I even believe they actually talk about it in this email here. They actually want you to buy the microphone yourself. They don't handle actually sending the microphone to you for free. What they do instead is that they want you to actually buy the microphone yourself from them off Amazon. They want you to get it shipped to you. Then they want you to make that full video, and then they promise to they just say they'll pay you back, right? And they just say that, oh, we'll cover it and stuff after the fact, right? We'll reimburse you, if you will. And then to actually get paid for the sponsorship, you need to hit over 100 comments for their community reward program or whatever. So now it may start making a lot more sense what's going on here. So technically, they've never lied here, right? Most of those videos aren't going to get over 100 comments, so then they don't have to pay you. So they just end up getting a sale for their microphones. And, I can't speak to this 100%, as this next part I'm about to say. But to me, it seems like they're just trying to inflate their numbers for this whole kind of authorized dealer situation they have with TzAudio parts, right? So I'm imagining that their deal that they have with them being an authorized dealership or whatever is that the more sales they make under the TzAudios name, then the more money they make from TzAudio parts as part of that deal, right? That would just make the most sense to me. That's how most of those authorized dealer deals situation goes, right? In that situation, then it's in their best interest to try to maximize sales. So it seems like their goal is to have these smaller content creators actually buy the microphones off Amazon to inflate their numbers, and then they're promising all these big numbers if they do this full video. They get some free marketing out of it, and they don't have to pay them back for it, unless if they reach over 100 comments, which they know they won't. That appears to be the whole situation here, and it's very scummy. It's very shitty what they're doing here. Editor KO here, and I'll actually go ahead and show you the specific microphone application that they specify on their website here really quick, because most of what I said in that video is correct, but there are actually a bit more intricacies to it. So obtaining the item, you have to actually order it directly from authorized distributors, Amazon, or provide us with the order ID and PayPal or wire transfer information to receive your reimbursement, right? So after the order ID, you'll receive half the amount of the product, and then the second half will be provided after the video is completed. This is a really silly way of doing business. I already talked about all that. Vendor fulfillment and distributor fees, PayPal fees, taxes, and shipping are not covered. Obtain an additional 30 comments on your video. These comments must be from unique individuals and should specifically address the microphone, recording, and sound quality. So comments that don't comment on that specific stuff don't count. And then additionally, the view count must be 400 times the number of comments. 400 times the number of comments. This has to be like a mistranslation with the English or something, right? A typo. 400 times the number of comments. So, and by the way, it means you agree to the terms and will continue to fulfill them once you receive any payment from us. You cannot return the product, otherwise it will trigger the termination clause. So what is the termination clause? Any individuals who violate this agreement will be added to the scammer list. So violating this agreement means the view count must be 400 times the number of comments. If your view count isn't 400 times the number of comments, then you're in violation of this agreement. You see the issue here? Do you see the problem? This is insane. Once you've achieved this, we can forward with the second reimbursement. So if you don't have this happen, they will not reimburse the second payment. You will keep the mic. We hope to collaborate with those who genuinely love the mic, not just for a video. So they want you to buy a microphone from them. They'll pay you half the price back, and then, they claim to at least. And then you need to receive 400 times the number of comments, and you need at least 30 comments specifically addressing the microphone, recording, or sound quality. So, and this is like their actual agreement here that they send to the creators to actually agree to, and you can see that in their transparency email exchanges that creators have to agree to this, and a breach of the agreement is anyone who violates this agreement, and they'll be put on their scammer list. You'll be put on your scammer list for not agreeing to this. And there's a whole nother page, by the way, /scam, which says silence is not a virtue. And it's just even more of this crazy coping. We retain the right to download or repost the video. So if you make this video, you see when I was talking about them getting free advertising, if the creator realizes, shit, this is a fucking scam, and they want to take it down, then TzAudios retains the right to re-upload your video now and continue to keep using it to promote their products. Do you see the problem here? This is insane. This is not how any typical business operates. This is not a typical agreement. This is very scummy because you're agreeing to these impossible terms as a channel that's maybe like 200, 500 subs like I was mentioning, or hell, even maybe 2,000 subscribers or under, hell, even 5,000 subscribers or under, getting 400 times the number of comments and then 30 comments specifically addressing all this stuff. Otherwise, you violate the agreement, and oh, by the way, we can download and repost this video and keep using it. This is insane. This is scammy behavior. This is scummy behavior, definitely, but this sounds like a total scam. You may be wondering now, well, how did I get this image? Where did I get this image from? Coming straight from TzAudios. And it's because they actually have a dedicated webpage called Transparency. Now, if you actually go ahead and look at this page is just pure cope, and I am almost positive it's AI generated as well, because it does use M dashes. The kind of language that it uses, AI tends to use very kind of hyperbolic language, very artistic language, I guess you can say, and it also tends to have very specific writing patterns so this really just kind of feels like AI. Obviously can't confirm that, but it really does feel like it. So this is the Transparency and Integrity portal. They're decoding collaboration fraud. See what I mean? That like AI would say some shit like this, like the decoding collaboration fraud shit. So the mission of this page is that at TzAudios, we believe in the power of genuine creativity. However, the rise of opportunistic fraud and premeditated deception threatens the mutual trust necessary for such partnerships. This portal serves as a clinical archive, see, like, who speaks like that, and deceptive patterns we have encountered. By documenting these cases, we aim to protect the brand, warn the industry, and establish accountability. So, all right, so I'm sure you can understand the tone of what you're about to read for the rest of this, is that they're not taking any accountability. They're, in fact, blaming all the content creators that they're the scammers, and, like, come on, man. This is just silly. Like, before we even continue at all, let's say hypothetically TzAudios wasn't a scam at all. They 100% completely proved their innocence. Does any content creator want to associate with your brand after you acting like this public meltdown here? Like, no serious company to work with is ever going to act like this. This is just silly. This is plain silly. You know, if you're trying to actually protect your brand and everything, why don't you instead actually establish some real transparency by opening up about your process with content creators and how you handle things? Maybe improve your process where they don't have to actually buy the damn microphone. And maybe it's like, oh, we'll send you the microphone. You just have to send it back after. And then if you get over the 100 comments thing or whatever, which is still scummy, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a scam. But the fact that they have to actually buy your microphone is crazy. And like, this company, the way they act is just, as you'll read on further, it really just sounds like one angry guy furiously typing away at his keyboard over, like, this dude's just fighting demons. He's fighting ghosts. It's all like, this dude actually isn't like deep into the fog of war here. So the anatomy of deceptive patterns, the double dip exit, the premeditated platform fraud. So the tactic is that the individual accepts a full reimbursement from their company and then waits for a silent period to initiate a return on the original purchase platform. So that doesn't make much sense to me, but I think what they're trying to say here is that you have to go buy the microphone. They say they'll reimburse you for the purchase, and then the individual who received the microphone will then order a refund on Amazon, so that way they can technically get a legally secure a 200% payout, keeping the reimbursement while claiming the initial capital, right? Yeah. It's almost like this is a stupid way of doing it. It's almost like you shouldn't do it this way, TzAudios. It's almost like maybe you should just send the microphone. You know, something that would really solve all these problems is if you had actual contracts. You see, something interesting. is that this company doesn't actually provide contracts. You see, any legitimate company reaching out for a sponsorship will actually have written on paper contracts, independent contractor agreements that you agree to that are bound between you and the company. And in doing it this way, it legally protects both you and that company, because if they don't abide by the terms of the contract, or if you don't, you can get fucking sued. So they really, there's heavy legal and financial incentive to make sure that you actually stick to the terms of the contract. And it's legal, it's cordial, it's everything's on record on paper that way, and it's just cleaner. But this company doesn't provide contracts. It's all done through email like that, and they actually use Google Forms. If you go back to my old video about a year ago talking about this, you'll see that they actually use Google Forms to handle this kind of stuff, which is crazy to me. It's insane. No legitimate company does it this way, where they actually have you buy the microphone. They're using Google Forms. They don't provide proper contracts. Even for smaller creators like that, you need to have higher standards for yourselves, guys. I'm kind of switching to talking to smaller creators here, anyone who's watching, that you guys need to have higher standards. You need on-paper contracts. You need them to actually, if it's a physical product or whatnot, you don't go buy the product. That's not how that works. They have to supply you the product, and then there may be like a certain amount of time that you're allocated before you have to return it. But then they usually handle the return fees and everything like that. And that is a legitimate way of doing business. This isn't. This isn't at all. So there's the preemptive victim. So the moral aversion and smear tactics. So the tactic is, once their breach of contract is detected, you don't provide a contract, the individual immediately assumes the role of a victim, weaponizing social media to claim they were scammed. Yeah, because you promise all these crazy inflated numbers if they do these videos, and then you don't pay them because it turns out it's, oh, well, actually you didn't get over 100 comments, sorry. And then you just get free advertising, and then you get you get the sale on your Amazon page, you get the free sale. So yeah. And then their goal is to create a noise shield to mask their own financial theft. Where? That's silly. Like, what are you talking about, man? The pseudo-order deception. So this is financial opportunism. So the tactic is the participant receives an upfront good faith deposit, but provides fake or unauthorized IDs to buy time. And then their goal is to secure small micro advances without intent to fulfill the agreement. This just sounds like shitty like business practices, man. This is on you. If you're dealing with this kind of situation, instead of coping about it on this page, how about you just don't do it this way? Like, okay, something important to understand. I actually had, a while back, I actually had a sponsorship deal with Proton. You can go look back on that. Proton Mail, Proton VPN, that company. It was specifically for Proton VPN. And they, obviously I can't talk about the intricate details and stuff, contractual obligations and stuff, but what I can say is that their way of doing business is very professional, and it's done right. Things are actually on paper. Things are actually a contract. They actually handle things properly, and they're actually a well-established, legitimate company that's not coping on their webpage like this. And the way they handled things was so much cleaner, so much more professional than the way this stupid shit's going, right? It's genuinely silly, right? Comparing my experience with Proton to comparing what I've seen from these guys. Later in this writing here, they talk about professional standards. So let's actually go there. So professional standards. So our response to these attacks, it's a logic versus emotion. A scam takes your money and leaves you with nothing. We provide high-end hardware, $300 to $500 value, and offer massive cash rewards if you exceed over 100 comments, that is. Calling a high-value asset exchange a scam is a logical fallacy used by those who either cannot afford participation costs, so there's participation costs to a sponsorship, or refuse to be held to professional standards. Comparing these guys to Proton is insane. right? The night and day difference. I really wish I could just show some of like the behind the scenes stuff, because really the way that they handled things, Proton didn't reach out to me directly. It was through a sponsorship agency who actually reached out on behalf of them, and they quickly verified that I actually told them, hey, how do I know you guys are actually working for Proton? They were like, oh yeah, sure, that makes a total sense why you'd be like a little concerned like that. And then they actually were able to prove that they are working with Proton. I don't know if I'm allowed to say exactly how, but they did prove it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they actually had me sign a contract. I had to provide, the banking information stuff after the contract. I was concerned about privacy, and they made sure to handle that, to make sure that they were making sure that everything was fully comfortable for both parties. And then we signed this contract, and it set all the terms specifically out and everything like that. Like, that's how you do business. And I didn't have to pay a dime. There were no participation costs with working with Proton. That's not how that works. You're a brand reaching out to creators to have them advertise and promote your product. They shouldn't have to pay you to have you promote on their channel. That's not how that works. You come to them, they shouldn't have to pay a dime. You come to them and you offer them the money, you pay them the money, and then they do the video. That's how that works. You don't, this whole kind of setup they have here is just silly. Like, this is not the creator's fault. This is the fault of your own shitty business practices. And you guys are very scummy yourselves with the whole over 100 comments thing to get the whole 500, everything like that. They talk about these massive cash rewards, but you don't actually provide the massive cash rewards unless if the creator actually exceeds those numbers, which if you're targeting these 200 to 500 subscriber channels, it's very unlikely that they will. Because even those kind of dedicated review videos like that, when there's already such a inflated pool of these kinds of videos, when there's so much of a, because videos that target a specific niche that isn't widely covered are the kind of videos that do better. But if there's such a giant sea of these exact same videos already covered, then yours just blends in with all the other noise of the rest of these videos. And the YouTube algorithm knows that, and these kinds of videos aren't going to perform super well because this is a topic that's already been covered a million times by a million other creators. So if you make that video, it's not going to perform exceptionally well on YouTube, because, I mean, if you see a video like this, are you going to click it? I mean, most people probably wouldn't, unless if you're particularly interested in microphones, maybe you'd check it out. But then you'd see all these tons of other videos also covering it, and you get my point, right? Like, why would the view go to you instead of all these other creators who have already covered this? So my point is that the odds of you getting over 100 comments threshold is unlikely, and that means that they don't actually have to pay you according to their emails and their practices, right? It would be a lot better if they had everything on a written contract for you to sign, so you could very clearly get that on paper and read it, but they don't do that. They do it through email exchanges and Google Forms. And so when I hear them talking about professional standards, it's a joke. It is a joke. And then we scroll down here. Let's scroll down here real quick. So the special section, a reflection on dark psychology and accusations. They start talking about some ancient wisdom and stuff. Guys, you're a microphone reseller. Chill. In our passion to support the creator community, perhaps our only mistake was reaching out first to those we could not pre-screen for character. So they are admitting, like, you guys are the ones that reached out to them. In doing so, we unintentionally knocked on the doors of individuals with dark psychology, people who do not value partnership but only seek prey. Dude, some of the channels they reached out to were genuinely children. Like, but it gets better. When our anti-fraud systems thwart their attempts to exploit us, these individuals act like a zombie-like aggression. This dude's perception of the world is amazing. This guy needs to get on the Joe Rogan podcast immediately. As a business owner, proudly publishing this on your website, launching coordinated attacks and spreading slander across social media platforms to vent their frustration being unable to game the system. Yeah, so All right, so let's go ahead and give a look at the scammer list, right? So this is where I got that one email exchange from. If you scroll to the bottom, they were talking to him here. Your order from Amazon, pay to Amazon, and receive the service from Amazon. There's no pressure from us. I love the M dash. If the Pro mic isn't what you need at the moment, that's completely okay. Our goal is to simply ensure it reaches someone who can benefit from it the most. Well, again, what they want you to do is they want you to actually buy the microphone from Amazon, and then they said that if you prefer, you can send them your PayPal account, and then they'll send you $50 in advance. And then after that, you can follow the processing list. The microphone is not $50. Let's go ahead and go look at the prices real quick. So these microphones are $400. They're $409. They're $489.99, right? So these microphones are pretty expensive. These are pretty crazily expensive microphones, actually. Now, you're having to actually go buy the microphone from Amazon. And of course, if you want to make sure it's not a scam, they will send you $50 in advance just to prove, like, hey, we will pay you your money, right? That's kind of, I guess, what they're trying to do is like, if we give you $50 now, then why wouldn't we give you the full rest later to fully pay back everything, right? Like you can see the issue here. So you're going to pay the full price for the microphone. They're going to they are willing to send you $50 in advance to prove that they're legit, and then you actually go buy the microphone, you make that video, everything, and you don't get the $500,000, $2,000 that you were promised because you didn't get over 100 comments or whatever. And then they're supposedly supposed to reimburse you here. The PayPal option would work, and they do such a shitty job like censoring everything, so I do feel bad for everyone that got put on this list, because any email exchange like this, there's an expectation of confidentiality, and failure to abide by that confidentiality is just a breach of trust. So this company very obviously does not do a good job at protecting the creators that they work with here. So you need to confirm the following. You are an honest collaborator and not a scammer. No offense, but this needs to be confirmed. You read and understood our details. You provide the order with ID within 24 hours of payment, so they do make you buy the Amazon listing. You cannot withdraw from the agreement or return the item to Amazon unless you fully refund the payment we send. The upfront payment will be deducted from the total reimbursement. We reserve the right to take legal action against any breach of trust. You can purchase it from Amazon. Instructions for claiming amounts between 500 and 2,000. So, like, this is not how legitimate business is done, okay? I feel like a broken record here, but I really feel like I need to bring home that point for any smaller content creators watching this video, that this is not how business is done, okay? If a brand is trying to do business in this manner, this is not how it's done. If you think this is what the big creators are doing to land their deals and stuff, you're wrong. Like, no genuine brand creates a giant board of all these scammers. You're telling me that every single one of these channels are malicious scammers just trying to extract money from TzAudios, the helpless victim just trying to support the creator community. All they want to do is just provide high quality microphones to the community, but the community is full of so many scammers that are, constantly going after. How about you properly vet the creators you're reaching out to before you reach out to them, man? Perhaps. Perhaps. I, I feel like a broken record here. This video, I've been recording for 27 minutes now. I feel like I've kind of driven home the point well enough. I think that any sane individual looking at what I'm showing right now could clearly see that this is just not a legitimate company here. If they somehow were legitimately 100% not a scam, even still, the behavior from this company and how emotionally charged they are, you can literally hear the company melting down in this whole fucking page. Like, this is not how proper legitimate businesses operate. And you should never work with a brand like this, and especially with the scumminess of their whole 100 comments thing and the type of creators they're reaching out to, the fact that you need to buy it first before you can even actually go through the full sponsorship deal and everything like that. This is not legitimate practices at all. And to me, it appears like a scam. This is not professional standards, not even close. So, takeaway from this video: TzAudios is a wild company, and yeah, just don't buy their shit. And TechZone Audio Parts, if for some reason you're watching this video, anyone at TechZone Audio Parts or anyone watching this video who kind of maybe knows someone somehow from that or whatever, maybe consider cutting them as an authorized dealer, because no, they're just harming your image. TzAudios, don't, any authorized dealer behaving like this, you really should cut them off. That's really about it though. See ya.